J.D. Vance in a few interviews really told on himself. One, he went after Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom's response is epic. And J.D. Vance kind of fantasized about Donald Trump's death. Does he know something that we don't know? Before we get to that, I had to show you this because this shit is so cringe. It is funny to me. This is Valentina Gomez. I'm not going to say where she's running. She doesn't need the press, but her campaign is so broke that she is now door dashing in order to raise donations.
I'm running a campaign unlike any other. Nobody tells me what to do, what to say, or when to say it. So I'm delivering to the people of the 31st Congressional District in a way that has never been done before, through DoorDash. So if you're in...
Perfect metaphor. No one wants to, so you have to show up just to deliver something to someone that they actually do want. I kind of want to watch it again. Hold on. The editor can leave me on the screen for this.
Nobody tells me what to do, what to say, or when to say it. So I'm delivering to the people of the 31st Congressional District in a way that has never been done before, through DoorDash.
Oh, beautiful. That tickled me. I don't know if you've seen her other content before. She's an insane fascist. But I feel like if she weren't an insane fascist and she were just a kooky woman, she'd be fun to go to a gay bar with. See some drag queens. But no, she is, I mean, if you look into her, this is an insane person. Did want to show you this too. Dad, how did you meet Mom? Stop talking about Epstein. Just tickled me. Took me a little. Okay. So J.D. Vance is doing interviews, and apparently he wants to avoid protesters. So he went down the wrong way on a one-way street to avoid protesters in Wisconsin. Oh. What a baby. I love that. We're going to need a lot more of that. And thank you, the protesters, for showing up and speaking out. Now, as I said, J.D. Vance had a disastrous interview on Fox News with Will Cain, who, not the brightest light bulb in the bunch. Here he is, not fully getting what Governor Newsom is doing.
You bring up humor. Gavin Newsom sure thinks he's a comedian these days on social media, and so does much of the left. His polling numbers have gone way up since he started mimicking President Trump on social media.
Yeah.
What do you make of Governor Newsom?
I make of Governor Newsom that you said he's mimicking Donald Trump, and I think that's exactly right. The lesson of Donald Trump, the lesson of President Trump in American politics is you've got to be authentic to yourself. And when I see Gavin Newsom trying to act like Donald Trump, that's the opposite of authenticity. He's not trying to be Gavin Newsom, whoever that is. He's trying to be a fake carbon copy of Donald Trump, and it just doesn't work. You can't mimic the king. You can't mimic the master. You ought to just go and be yourself, and I think that the American people would like that a lot more than a cheap imitation of the President of the United States.
He has the weirdest face I've ever seen. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Separately, there are moments of beauty. The eyes, the eyeliner, a very strong nose. But together, it all just becomes a big mess. He is just that is a handsome man. That's a handsome man. And then It just looks like someone had too much, just did a little too much on Photoshop. It's just barely inhuman. All right, anyways, about what he was saying, he says that Gavin Newsom is mimicking the president. No. This is what they don't understand. It's not mimicking. Or maybe they do understand. Maybe it's smart of them to just pretend like it's not happening. He's mocking the shit out of President Trump. He's mocking him nonstop. And that's why it's bothering him, because it hits a little too close to home. And they're all realizing that they look like idiots supporting someone who acts like that. And by the way, he called Donald Trump a king because he wants us all to get raged out of it. I'm not doing the rage bait, okay? Donald Trump's not a king, but I'm not raging out over it. All right, let's go to this one part where he is asked about Donald Trump if he were to die.
As vice president, you're a heartbeat away from the presidency. And your boss is one of the oldest people to ever be sworn into office. You're one of the youngest people to ever be second in line. Are you ready to assume the role of commander-in-chief? And why should Americans trust you to lead the country?
Well, I've gotten a lot of good on-the-job training over the last 200 days, but also say that the president is in incredibly good health. He's got incredible energy. And while most of the people who work around the President of the United States are younger than he is, I think that we find that he actually is the last person who goes to sleep. He's the last person making phone calls at night, and he's the first person who wakes up and the first person making phone calls in the morning. So, yes, things can always happen. Yes, terrible tragedies happen, but I feel very confident the President of the United States is in good shape, is going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy, I can't think of better on-the-job training than what I've gotten over the last 200 days.
Okay, so very good PR answer, but let me tell you this. If there were no problem with Donald Trump, that man would have said, there is absolutely no world in which I'm becoming the president, because Donald Trump is going to be president until blah, 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 blah. And he would be like, next question. But he ran through that thing defensively, and then he wants to let everyone know that he's ready for the job. And I'm telling you, you do not say that if the person who you would take the job from is brimming with health. We all know that Donald Trump is sick as hell. We can see it with our own eyes. Here's Donald Trump, 2018. Here's Donald Trump now. Does this look like someone who's brimming with health? Do you have confidence this person is doing very well? No, of course not. And J.D. Vance would have said as much. He would have said otherwise, and it would have been not as defensive had that been the case. So Stephen Miller, he yelled for 30 seconds about, I don't know, stealing House seats. And then Gavin Newsom said, Stephen, if you're going to lie about who is stealing congressional seats, at least stop yelling. It's very shrill. God bless him. God bless him. Let's just end with this. Because Welch, what is her first name? Is it Rachel Welch? Jennifer Welch. Sorry, Jennifer, for not knowing your first name. But I did know who you are. I just didn't know your name. Welch said this about Donald Trump redecorating the White House, and I thought this was very telling about what his plans aren't and why he's building this ballroom. So you can watch this, and if you didn't hit like in the video, I promise I can talk. I do it for a living. You can hit like on the video, that'd be great. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I'm going to learn how to speak. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Sorry. He wants to cook the books. He wants to control everything. This isn't a limited government guy. This is not a law and order guy. This is a guy who has redecorated the Oval a la Marie Antoinette style and is building himself a ballroom because he has zero intention of leaving. And the more Americans realize this, the more prepared we can be. He wants to control the Fed. And what happens when autocrats do this? Inflation spikes. All of our fiscal conservative friends, the economy will tank.
When George H.W. Bush put a horseshoe pit in, did he not intend to leave? When Barack Obama put a basketball court in, did he not intend to leave?
You know what?
I mean,
They didn't stage an insurrection
Listen,
prior.
I just want to stay focused
What, you
on
think
this
that was
because I
just a
think this
dust
is
up?
super important.